I was to read one book, what would that be?
Well, if you're interested in Crowley's magic, the book that you would read would be Magic in Theory and Practice. So, what are some, probably my favorite Crowley book is called Magic Without Tears, which is mostly letters to students. If you're wanting to just learn about magic, a couple books I'd recommend would be Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig, I believe his name is, and that gives you like a basic generic structure of what the Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn use in a lot of groups. And then if you're interested in chaos magic, Grant Morrison, the comic book writer, wrote a little book called Pop Magic it's only like 20, 30 pages long, and that's for free on the internet. And that's a really great introduction to magic, yeah.
So that's probably the first time we brought it up tonight.
Chaos magic.
By the way, it is evening, in case people were wondering. But chaos magic. So, what is its relevance here?
Chaos magic is another school of magic. So we'll call Crowley's school of magic thelemic magic. And so the next school of magic we'll talk about is chaos magic, and that kind of was really spearheaded by a guy named Peter Carroll, who was one of the founders of the IoT, which is another magic order like the OTO, Golden Dawn AA, but this is the Illuminates of Thanateros.
So Thanateros, that sounds familiar.
It's the amalgam of
amalgamation
of two gods, the god of sex and the god of death. Thanatos is the god of death, the Greek god of death, and Eros is the...
Why is it sparking something in my head now about something recent in media? Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah, the Avengers.
Oh, is that anywhere near what we're talking about?
And you're not a fan of superheroes, so...
Yeah, I'm not. Not necessarily. I'm not a fan of... I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of their superheroes. I'm a fan... What I'm not a fan of is the modern day representation of it.
We'll have to have a talk just about superheroes sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Thanos, I would guess that name, when they created him back in the... I don't know if it was late 60s, early 70s, that he got created. It was, I would say it's probably based on the god of death, Thanatos.
Oh, okay.
So.
Who's Peter Carroll?
Peter Carroll, founder of IoT. Probably.
Why would we care about that, though? I mean, what was his humble beginnings that he could make this order and people cared?
He was kind of like the punk rock version. I mean, this is kind of the birth of like the punk rock version of magic, is what I would describe it as, where they're very inspired by a magician named Osman Spare, who was also a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, but he really perfected the sigil in using his artwork to perform his magic. And
so is he Britain too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And around the same time as Crowley?
Osman Spare was, yes. Peter Carroll is the 1970s, 80s, 1970s, 1980s. And I actually know, I don't know, I'm an acquaintance of Peter Carroll. Early on in my early days of seeking, we would correspond. So he was a bit of a teacher to me.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So
you got a letter from him, right? Or something? Is that by correspondence you meant?
Yeah, but more modern. We were emailing back and forth.
What does a guy like that say to you?
I was
very normal and
he was a pretty normal guy. He was really cool and patient with me, considering I didn't know anything and probably asked him really ignorant questions. Like, I was probably annoying because I emailed him so much in the beginning. The book is one of the foundations of the chaos magic movement, and Peter Carroll maybe was one of the first people to use the term chaos magic, even though Crowley and Osman Spare were probably the first chaos magicians. The chaos magic is like, use what works and scrap what doesn't. And what I'm missing here is the biggest thing about chaos magic is the paradigm. The belief system is it doesn't matter what your belief system is. What's important is that your belief system is advantageous to yourself. So, or whatever you're trying to do. So
That could be pretty selfish in the end.
It's a means to an end. But no, let's say it doesn't have to be that. It could be like whatever your goal is. Like your goal is to help people. Like, then I got to think about that.
So the purpose of chaos magic is to be advantageous to your position or what you want to be.
No, the belief system doesn't matter. What matters is what works. And so whatever you believe to get you there isn't important. What's important is that you got there. So whether you're using Christian magic or Jewish magic or Muslim magic, whether the gods you invoke are Egyptian gods or Greek gods or the characters from Star Trek.
In the midst of this is the sigils.
And the sigils are born out of the work of Osman Spare. And he just really, when you're in the Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn, they teach all these different systems that you work with. The astrology, the divination, the tarot cards, looking in a crystal ball, the alchemy, all these different things. So he takes the sigil and basically masters that one aspect of magic. And then the chaos magicians take that on and make it a part of their regular system of magic, and often charge them with orgasms. But you can charge them with other things, extreme exhaustion, any kind of altered state of consciousness. So
these sigils that you're charging, setting up a papyrus or paper.
Yeah, usually it's
then what do you do with it? It's charged. I orgasm. My paper is charged.
Well,
my symbols are charged. What am I doing with it?
So you create the sigil and it means something. It's an intent, it's to make this thing happen. This symbol represents my desire to make the most perfect batch of cookies that have ever been. And so
I believe you're capable of that.
Yeah. So you can take those letters and scramble them all up and make a symbol out of it. And then you work to try to forget what that symbol represents. But your unconscious mind remembers what that symbol represents. And when you power this, your unconscious mind is what's really powering this, and it's going to remember, even though your conscious mind may not. So you power this. Yeah, so it's written on a piece of paper. It's written in the sand. It's probably mostly on a piece of paper, but it doesn't matter.
And the power that it gets charged with is within your subconscious.
Yeah.
So chaos magic is something, you hear about a decent amount. What makes it popular?
Well, I think it's just that it's kind of the rebellious punk rock version of magic, where they break all the rules. They don't follow the system of the Golden Dawn. They don't follow Crowley's system. They create their own systems, and it's created with what works. So that's when I talk about the belief system. What you believe, if it makes the magic work, it doesn't matter what you believe. What matters is that it made the magic work. So I know there's been there was a group of chaos magicians that their deity is that they worshipped were the Partridge Family. So
my people.
Yeah. So
finally, I can connect with.
So you can invoke the Partridge Family and work with their music and all this stuff and make your magic happen.